Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal. We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom.
We share struggles, we brainstorm solutions.
And we would love to have you join us. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a hot second.
You know what? We're not even going to say that anymore. Otherwise, every single episode is going to start with us saying that.
Or, you know what? Maybe this is like the season of time where it's like, it's been a hot second. But, you know, we don't know. We don't know the future.
We're still doing it, okay?
Posthumously, like, we're saying...
We're still here.
We're still here.
I don't know about you, but this is the first time in a long time where I've actually started to feel more energy lately, and that's kind of a good feeling.
Oh, yeah.
After a few years in survival mode.
That's fair. I think right now I'm at the... which we'll get to in a bit, but I'm at the point where like I can breathe for a second, and also I can breathe for a sec. I think this hill that I'm coming over is a hill that's been a long time building for a while. Like I mentioned episodes back how there's been a lot of like stress, whatnot.
Personal drama.
Well, not personal drama, but there is that. There's that.
We both had a fair amount of that.
We have had that, but also like since the COVID days, like or should I say the early COVID days specifically, like. There's been a lot of creating. And I feel like I'm still like catching up with that. And since being like climbing over this recent hill.
Hang on. I'm going to interrupt this because I'm just getting a call from Jesse Rogers. Jesse Rogers, you're live on Chaotic Harmony.
Everybody, sell.
Boo.
Bye, Jesse.
I remember back in like the early couple of years of teaching, like at Chula Vista Donors Choose, like a lot of people were trying to build it up, and like it stopped because COVID and
I never stopped. I regularly have things show up. I'm like, I forgot I wrote a grant for that.
Aren't you precious?
We all know this.
I think
I'm special.
One of the things that's really inhibited me was like when I first started and Lauren was telling us to create Donors Chooses, I didn't have any pictures.
Oh.
And now I do.
Yeah.
And so there's less of an excuse for me not to do anything.
You know what? It feels like a lot of setup, but then once you get your Donors Choose set up, then you can get a lot more. Yeah. I swear I've funded so much money, so many instruments, so many books through that site. And people want to help.
What's been the most interesting thing you've requested? Like,
my giant gathering drum for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it can fit 5 kindergartners in it. It's the Lynn Kleiner Remo gathering drum.
I'm sorry. What is it with Americans who they'll use like any other metric other than the metric system to measure things?
No, because
it fits 5 giraffes in it.
No.
Kids?
Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants. No, it's because we flip it over and we let some kids sit inside of it, and then we go row, row, row your boat, and we rock them back and forth.
You can find this on patreon.com/stageClass.
It's fun.
I'm sure. No. I'm sure it is. It sounds lovely. It's just like 5 kids. It's kind of like when Josh was talking about. Oh, he shoved my closet's like 3 kids worth. Like shove 3 kids. This is concerning. How does this work?
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, so we're talking about.
Well, I was mentioning. We're finally getting over the hump with like all these projects, and I think 2 years out of closures, I think I'm finally gathering myself, whatnot. Also in my personal life as well, I'm finding a balance in things, whatnot. So that's where I've been at.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I feel like I've kind of been dragging myself to work a lot of days, and that's not my MO. Yeah. I really enjoy my job.
We do cool stuff
historically. It's been a really hard couple of years. And it's every year's been hard for the last 3.5-ish years, but for its own reason. It's like, and this wasn't an easy gig to begin with. I just feel like the joy has been lacking overall. So I'm glad to see some of it coming out. I think some of it is I've figured some stuff out. Some of it isn't. I'm able to get a little bit more rest than I was. Some things are running themselves in my life a little bit easier now. Yeah. So I feel like the sun is coming out. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I think a lot of teachers can relate with that. I mean, we all have lived different narratives and different lives, but especially in a more, global situation, like first off, as we talked about in an earlier episode about bunker babies, that's made our work more difficult. Yes. With more eyes on teachers and the pitchforks have come against public education, it's just a lot. And so I'm glad that you're finding now this sense of solace or like a grounding, whatnot. So I can see the light of Brand new morning.
Don't. Oh, okay.
Dolly Parton.
I'm sorry. I had to hear the last few words.
She's
for
the
that
most intelligent, amazing songwriter of all time.
Most intelligent. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not saying she isn't.
I will defend that position.
I just like...
Dolly, I love you so much.
If you're listening to this podcast, like...
I want to be her.
Okay.
Actually, I don't. I really like being me. But anyway. Okay, so this is... We should jump into...
I mean, that kind of segues well into our conversation because a lot's been happening.
Yes, it's true.
So we're recording this in the year of the Lord 2023, April 24th. And so last week prior, we had a lot going on.
Oh, man, did we ever. We're going to talk about two of the things that we had going on, and then you'll have to wait another week to hear about the third thing that we had going on. But Jonathan, let's start with the first thing we had going on. Oh my gosh, was it only a week ago?
It was only... No, this has been a wild... No, it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
That's
my apologies. To my listeners, I am so sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Back it up.
Wow,
so a week ago, I know, sorry. The windscreen didn't protect you from that one.
No, it don't.
There's a lot. Right. There's a lot of wind here. What can I say?
So 2 weeks ago was the VAPA Festival. We have talked about this before. We talked about it in the notion of the collaborative concert. We changed it last year, so it has more. First off, because we wanted to include visual arts into it last year.
Can I back up even more?
Sure, by all means.
Okay, for those of you that have not been listening to this podcast for 4 years, no, we love you. We're glad
we love you.
That you're
but why
here.
Don't you listen to the episodes?
It's fine.
It's okay.
So 4 years ago, Jonathan had this idea when we were first building the programs, getting to know each other, all the music teachers in the district were doing really cool things. That how nice would it be if we got together with our performing groups because we never got to see what each other was actually doing and put on a little concert for each other. So we got the public library to agree that it would be fine if we showed up and just played for each other. And because music teachers can't do math, we didn't realize how many people were actually going to show up to it.
We thought that was going to be a small gathering.
Nice
it would
crowd.
work in the children's portion of the music.
Sitting around the
library.
rug.
Like Kumbaya, like everyone just sings songs.
It's going to be lovely. There were hundreds of people who showed up.
250 plus folks.
Just packed out how many teachers were there? 6, 7?
No, there was only 5 groups. And I remember
I still can't do math.
Mark and your group were like relatively small. I think the biggest group was Hans's group.
Yeah.
But I thought it's okay. People would come and be a small.
Still,
yeah, but
it's about 100 kids, and if everybody has one grown up, and then most have 2, those numbers get big fast.
I do think it was probably actually 50 kids, but still, this was the first time ever, so people were curious.
Again, I still can't do math. So anyway, so that was year 1, and as
back in 2018,
even though the people who work for the library hated us, we're very sorry.
I appreciate if you are somehow listening to this podcast. Thank you for your grace.
We're very sorry. We'll never do it again. So we realized after that we needed to plan a little better, and so Jonathan took that task on and made an amazing festival at Casillas at his school.
Yeah, we had 11 groups from across the entire Chula Vista Elementary School District.
Bands, choirs, Orff group.
And it was, first off, I was really grateful that my coworkers were willing to use each of the classrooms as green rooms. So we had first off, huge shout out to Carolyn Lechuga, who helped spearhead the logistics element. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We had to work out a lot of kinks that year.
Yeah.
And then COVID
happened.
And then Jonathan spearheaded a digital VAPA festival so that we could still show off what's happening in our school district.
Yes.
And the kids could perform.
Right. So we did, that was at the peak of the virtual choirs and virtual ensembles. Yes. And a lot of people were apprehensive to do it, and justifiably so. We were all so drained. Yeah. Thankfully, there were so many apps that existed out there. And so, and also with the help of Crystal Valencia, thank you so much.
Yes.
We made it work. We had I forget how many groups there were. It was about 11 still groups that did online orchestras, Orff singing, Orff on xylophones, more accurate. And we made it work. We even back in 2019, we also, something I really liked is that we had one final piece and we all sang Kum Lele, and online we still made it work. We sang we all needed more kindness in this world, and
which is like my theme song.
And it was, again, it worked out.
It did. It was really rad.
Yeah
it was cool.
That was 2021.
That was 20. And then last year, Jonathan went from school site to school site with a camera and filmed all of the groups.
Because we still could not perform with that many groups in one sitting. And that would just, if we just had, so it had to be.
It was a Facebook Live event.
Yes.
Right?
I don't think we did live stream
Oh, okay.
at all. It was just
hit.
pre-recorded, and it still is on the CVESD VAPA YouTube page. And so
that was cool because everybody still got a chance to perform, and
Yeah.
it was a beautiful video.
it worked. Yeah.
Still had a couple of kids MC the thing.
Yeah.
Because we have an agreement that anytime you can have a kid do a thing, they should. The teachers should speak as little as possible.
Either a kid or Mark.
I vote for the kid. I love you, Mark.
vote for the kid. No, Mark did a great job emceeing for 2019.
Yeah,
And
that's true. That's true.
But I don't know. Maybe you're a little salty. I don't know, because he did ask about fly fishing.
It made no sense. I didn't give him any information about me as a person because I'm like, we're not talking about me. It's my ORF group. And so he's like, this is Mrs. Pridmore who enjoys her summers fly fishing in Oregon. I'm like, what?
I mean, you didn't do the assignment. So
I didn't know. I had 2 kids introduce our piece instead. They were ready to go. They'd practice. This is what I do. I told him it's what I was going to do.
It was great.
And he didn't listen.
No, he listened to me well. That's what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So that was 2022.
You see what I put up with? And then this year.
We'll get to the next week to the Arosa episode where you and Jamie just like
roasted
surround
so
sound
much.
like me. Like,
It was
oh my
so
goodness.
great. Okay, and then this year
yes.
it was bigger than ever. How many groups did we have this year?
We had 25 groups. So I also want to add one more thing. We changed our name from the Collaborative Concert to the VAPA Festival because we decided to incorporate visual art last year.
Yep.
And something that
And drama, right?
No, it was just visual art.
Just visual art
Last year. And so as we were going to the live space, something that I've really had an issue with whenever we have visual arts share the same event with music and other performing arts, is that it's always like, oh, there's Jason's artwork. I love my son's artwork. All right, moving on.
Yeah,
and it never has the same kind of weight as everyone else that's performing on stage.
Yeah.
Last year, when we did the VAPA Festival online, everyone shared the same stage. Like visual art was worth the same amount because not only was the art shawn, but also we went in to interview kids as well, and they talked about their art and also
why art was important to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, this is gonna be a lot more work, but what if we did that this year as well?
Yeah.
And so we had visual art, we had music, but also we brought in every single VAPA art that we have down in Chula Vista. Digital media.
Yeah.
We had dance, both live and also pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And also theater. And so 25 groups perform. 25 groups total, 12 groups live.
Yeah.
And
that was really neat. And how often do our students get to see each other? They're all involved in these things. They all work super hard, but they don't get to see each other from different schools.
Definitely.
Not at the elementary level.
Not at the elementary level. Yeah. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. At the advanced level, it's usually in a sense of, because, when you're older, it's more like knives are out. It's,
yeah.
I'm better than them.
Well, and that's what I like about how we do it, because I grew up, and I think we all did, if you didn't, please tell us, because this is the only kind of music program I've even heard about in the United States. When from middle school on, we showed up to festival, it was a competition.
Oh yeah.
You were getting your scores, you were looking for superiors, you won trophies, you won ribbons. That's not our VAPA festival in our district, and we've been very intentional about that. We get together to celebrate each other. And when the students ask me if it's a competition, because that's all their context they have, the baseball games, soccer, whatever.
Right. Because we are very sports heavy.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's a great avenue to have that at our schools, but also
but there's a winner and a loser.
Yes.
Whereas with this, we get to celebrate each other. Yeah. And I feel like that has so much more power.
It does. And I think I also piggybacking on what you said, we had recently Rancho Del Rey, Otay, Olympian, and Casillas all had a band night. It was really cool. It was kind of similar to the VAPA Festival. Thank you, Danielle Bruce. She was the one who kind of spearheaded that. But even in that, like, I had former students talking about, we were better than the other schools.
Yeah, it's not what it's about.
It's not what it's about. And so this year, it was nice to have it live again.
Yeah.
Even though it was really cool last year, we all had our text thread, just like texting each other. You did such a great job, Finney. That was so dope. It's like, this is like we were finally present in the same stage.
That's true.
There were some kinks though, and I do want to see. It's now gotten too big for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You cannot be doing this thing alone. It's amazing to see how in 4 years it's gone from us getting together informally at the library to this giant festival with 26 schools involved, and we filled up a 688 seat
technically 6
theater. and that's the largest performing venue that we have in Chula Vista. So I think that is another huge barrier that we have to continuing to build our programs, is there's not a good performance space for us.
It's difficult. I was talking to some people, and one of the biggest, I don't know, bulwarks, for lack of a better term, that we hit is that, you can request for big venues, but then that has to be used every single year. But why isn't it being used? Like, it's just like a chicken and egg situation. Like, it's not being, we could fill in those performance areas if they exist,
right?
But they won't build them because they fear that they won't be used.
Right.
But it's this, like, what comes first? And I'm
build
hoping,
it and they will come. Haven't they watched Field of Dreams?
but like, hopefully this is a data point. I'm hoping this is a data point, like, that, hey, we went bigger than capacity had over at Chula Vista High School, the biggest group. Maybe this is a data point so that people can survey later on, we need bigger venues.
Yeah. If you really believe in the power of the arts, if you want to see kids grow in confidence, you want to see them learn how to present themselves on stage, you want to have music and art in your community, you have to invest in the infrastructure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to share anything more, because I'm going to go a little bit different direction.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's about it.
Still on VAPA Festival. So this was another new thing that happened this year, was that it was live streamed.
Okay.
This was the first time it was live streamed, and it was cool. We had about 2,000 people watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm not sure what affects the metrics, like if people, because it was being shown within the school, so that, schools can watch
right,
at the event. But like, I'm not sure how much was that, but like, it was a lot of people. And I think something that is super important for the arts and arts advocacy is that more people need to see the stuff we do.
Yeah. We got to get in front of people.
We have to. And I understand the apprehension. It is like, my ensemble isn't ready enough.
Yeah.
And, I've seen other people do cooler stuff. Maybe it's not like good enough to be seen by other people. And I understand the concern about being judged, but man, like, how are advocates going to go to our programs and help support programs if they don't know what's happening?
That's our fear as adults, though.
It is, very much so.
And that's probably because we were raised in music programs where everything is a competition. There's always that weird competition among music teachers unless you intentionally build a team that loves each other and supports each other. And that takes intentionality from the administration in order to make that happen. We were really lucky to have that when we were building our programs. It's the first time I've ever had it, where we actually trust each other and bounce ideas off of each other, and we can be vulnerable with each other. I treasure that. And I really hope that we can hang on to it, especially as more and more people turn over in our district. But yeah, of course you feel that way. It's you always panic before a performance, even if it's just one grade level. I'm like, oh my gosh, the parents are coming. They're not ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But we've got to get over that.
We do. And like, looking back, I watched this live stream. There's a lot of issues with it. Like, not as far as student performance, but like from the producer standpoint.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was another element that was so stressful.
Yeah. The sound.
The sound, yes. But being a producer and a teacher at the same time.
Yes. Yes. You can't do that. You can't bring a performing group and do all the things.
I'm thinking, we
need a team.
We'll talk with Mark about this later on.
Yeah.
But really it was, there were a lot of issues from the producer standpoint. What was wrong? Sound.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there for us to look back. And even though it's not perfect, quote, whatever that even means,
lessons were learned.
And also we can build further on it. And so if you're concerned about your group not looking good enough, yes, but this is a first step to make things work within your group.
Well, how often do we as teachers expect perfection from ourselves, and then it keeps us from doing things, And so let's not take away opportunities from our students because we're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
So they deserve more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I have to just comment about the VAPA Festival is I know that. So this was a lot of work.
Yes.
And I recognize a lot of people's apprehension to do a VAPA festival because it's a lot of work. And I get that.
So much work.
It was. And I understand also, a lot of people are apprehensive because this is outside your contract hours. We're not being paid for this.
Right.
But if it doesn't exist, how will you be paid if it does? What's my word I'm looking for?
We have to demonstrate the value.
Thank you.
This is a building year. And we're still teaching our administrators, especially since so many of them have turned over in COVID, what it is that we do. So while I am the first person to stand up and say, take care of yourself, don't let yourself burn out, I will be very selective about what I can do. Now, I don't do after school groups all year. I'm going to tell you how I do it.
Yeah,
just because this works for me and it might help somebody. Because I'm not paid and my school doesn't have the budget to pay me, even though if they could, they would, to run an after school group all the time. I pick 1, 2, or 3 performances a year, put together a group for 9 weeks. We practice together twice a week just for those 9 weeks, and then we hit all those performances. And that's what I have capacity for. I'm willing to donate that much time. That might not feel true for somebody else. And I say if you can't, then you can't.
Yeah.
So
and I noticed, like, so I do it the whole year, but I noticed, like, if the problem with that is that students also have a sense of burnout as well. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And so it's
you were talking about that, people dropping out at the last second too.
I had 5 kids the rehearsal before the concert quit, and I was so livid.
Yeah.
But like internally living, like
not on them. Yeah.
I mean,
they're kids.
We had a talk. That's for sure. We had a talk, but it was definitely like, yeah, they're still growing, but in the same sense,
they're little.
But the day before the concert, I was just,
I know.
Oh my goodness. Like,
I wouldn't let my kid do that as a parent.
Yeah.
And so that's where you got to get your parents to understand too.
Yeah.
And I have to put it in sports terms. I'm like, this is like a baseball team getting ready, and then the day before the game, half the team drops out. Yeah. It's not okay.
But like I feel like the culture you were talking about, culture not being there.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue. Like, I want to lean into what you're saying. Like, yes, take care of yourself, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, don't expect that the garden that hasn't been grown should just be like take a little bit of sprinkling water. No, it does take hard work, and
it does.
Sometimes that means going outside your contract hours.
It does.
But do it healthily. That's the key thing, and that's a fine line. And you can't just do a one size fits all, because every single community is different. Yeah. But just note that it's gonna take more work to prove its existence. And
I see that a lot. I think that there's been a really important and much needed discussion about boundaries in our work and personal lives, especially since COVID came down. We've kind of had a nationwide reckoning, and
in multiple fronts.
The education system is limping along.
Yes.
And we've been running on the fumes of educators who are in it because they're incredibly dedicated for decades. And there's a lot that needs to change. But I think that to walk into any job situation and expect it to be perfect, it's just not realistic.
No.
And so I like to think that we get to be part of changing that culture. And the only way I know how to do it is to be as high quality as I can, demonstrate what I can do. And then when I get to the point where I can't do it anymore, use my words and say it out loud.
All that, yes. And I want to add one more thing.
Please do.
This VAPA festival would not have worked without the support of other people.
Yeah.
And so don't think you can do it on your own.
No. You know what? I learned that lesson this time too. I thought I was asking for enough help and I wasn't. I had 12 kids, which isn't that many, but orphan instruments are big. Yeah. And as all of my amazing parents were helping load the car, they were all like, why didn't you ask us to take 1 or 2, Mrs. Pridmore? We would have happily done it. And I'm unloading them with my wonderful custodian for like an hour and a half after. So it was a late night getting everything back. And I should have asked for help. Every time I think that I'm asking for enough help, I'm not.
Same here. Oh, I mean, I know I don't ask for enough help.
Yeah.
I recognize, like, I think that I have an issue with, or I'm still stuck in a paradigm of the self-made person, which doesn't exist. And
that's quite an American myth,
isn't it? It is an American myth, very much so. And the problem is, I recognize that Mark came in during the last, he was helping me the whole time, but during the last week, we definitely sat down. Like, if it wasn't for him, so many logistical problems would have fell apart.
Yeah.
And like this thing, again, as I mentioned earlier, has become too big for me. Like, this is no longer the 5 groups in the South Orange Library. This is way bigger. And like, as much as I think that, like, I think about my school, the stuff that I do is like, yes, I'm only person that knows how to do these things, and so I got to make things work.
Yeah.
But in a
But if we don't
district-wide
train other
event,
people,
that's the thing. Yeah,
it won't. It'll die with you.
yes, it will. And
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, people don't exist forever, and
Yeah.
so even if I stay in my site until I die, which I don't think I will, but like,
Right.
sorry guys, like it has to be trained. This has to be a system that works beyond you.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've seen schools that lose their music teacher and then the entire music program dies. And that's so sad. And we're looking at it at the district level. We can't have worked this hard to do what we do and then watch it die if, when our lives change and we move on.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. We need to figure out better ways to duplicate ourselves for sure.
We have to see the bigger picture. I think
we do.
I think that's one thing that I've really loved about the VAPA Festival is that it has allowed me to physically go into other classrooms and see what other people are doing and note that, like, yeah, the stuff I'm doing in my school is cool, but there's so many cool things that are happening. It's
for sure
awesome. There's so many colors happening, just vibrancy. It's spewing from different areas of Chula Vista, and that's cool.
And it's all valuable.
It's all valuable. But also the issues that I'm having at my school site, as important as they are and as like important they are to me, they're just one piece in the bigger puzzle.
Yes.
And if we only think about our own problems, we're going to miss the bigger problem. There are so many systemic problems that we talked about this a lot earlier this season, the last season as well, but there's so many systemic problems. And if we only think just about our four walls, we're going to lose sight of the bigger picture. And I really love that this VAPA Festival was able to extend ourselves to show to our board members and our district heads and other people, our 2,000 people who watch this video. Like,
yeah, it's cool.
We're doing some cool stuff. And
yes. Yeah. And the only way that we move forward is together.
Definitely.
That's a good lesson right there. Well, we've talked a lot about the VAPA Festival. I'm just going to blow through the other thing that happened.
Yeah, speaking of bigger systems, you went to a big system.
I did go to a big system. That's true. Very nicely transitioned, sir. So after the VAPA Festival, I went immediately to NAMM the next day, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. It is a huge trade show in Anaheim. It takes up the entire Anaheim Convention Center, which is a very big, large complex. It's right across the street from Disneyland. So I'm like forlornly looking at the back of the Matterhorn like, I want to go there. But it's okay.
Next year, Disneyland.
Oh man, yeah.
NAMM across Disneyland. There we go.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing show. Yeah. And I was sponsored by Save the Music to go, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Save the Music. You've made so much possible in my school, and I'm really grateful for your support. And it was really neat that they reached out to us. And it was me and Gisandra, who I didn't even know was going to be there until we were in our first session together. And then we looked at each other and I'm like, wait, hey, you're here? And
you can listen to Gisandra's episode earlier on.
You can.
Yeah, she did a two-parter, so
yes,
check it.
That was really fun to run into her. So it was me. They sponsored me and Mark. And I think Gisandra might have gotten sponsored by somewhere else.
I think Leah also went. But
really?
So they kind of tag team. So
I also saw Darlene and Nora. Hi, friends.
Hey, guys. Hey,
yeah, saw lots of good people there. So NAMM is a giant trade show. It's basically anybody that makes instruments or has anything to do with the music industry in its many facets in the U.S. is there. And the trade floor, it's enormous. It keeps going. It takes up multiple buildings, multiple floors, and it's so loud.
I can imagine.
It is so loud.
It's music.
It is. There's people doodling. There's
doodling.
On instruments, like messing around.
Okay, I was like,
not drawing.
It
but,
wouldn't surprise me if there's a visual integration into.
There was some digital stuff that I saw. I think my favorite thing that I saw was this. I think I sent it to you, a recorder MIDI controller.
You talked about it.
It was really cool. I really want one. It's just cool. So instead of a keyboard, you just like blow into it and you do the fingerings and you can make it whatever MIDI sound you want.
But also you said to me earlier that it also is analog. You actually create sound.
It works as an analog recorder too, but you can hook it up and it turns into a MIDI controller. And I was like, this is so cool. I immediately sent the demo to Jesse. I was like, you need this.
We'll call Jesse Rogers right now.
Yeah, right. Maybe he'll call me again. It was really rad. Anyway, so NAMM has these. So they have the giant trade floor, and it's like any conference. It's an opportunity to see face to face the people that you normally only communicate with via email, and so it's like meant to foster relationships. Yeah. So it's not really, you don't really go to buy stuff. I think you could, but but it's about making relationships with your vendors.
Sure. Yeah.
But then there's different tracks. So if you're in the music business, if you're a producer, if you're a professional musician, then you have different conference sessions you can go to. NAMM education, from what I understand, is still pretty new. I was told that it's only been around for about 5 years.
Okay.
And they're building it up. Like, you used to be able to get an educator pass and go to the trade floor. But now they have some conference sessions for you. So I got to go to some neat sessions.
Like what? What were some of the sessions that really piqued your interest?
Well, so I got to hang out with the wonderful people from Guitars in the Classroom here in San Diego. Actually, Guitars and Ukuleles in the Classroom. They have now added that to their title. We call them GITSY for short. And
now is it GITSY?
GITSY. They do really good work here in San Diego, and they're really passionate about equipping general classroom teachers to integrate more music.
Cool.
Yeah, and so you can have a teaching artist come to your classroom and work with the kids to play. They do a lot with open tuning at first, like open tuned ukuleles, and they do a lot.
So you detune the A string down to a G string.
Yes, exactly.
Or to a G.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the kids strum it, and it's just a nice, solid, grounded open C.
Assume they're in tune.
You know. They will buy your classroom ukuleles.
That's awesome.
They also have a system to do the same thing with guitars. They start open tuned guitars, and they're really passionate about that. And then once the kids are comfortable just strumming and singing, which is important, they have them write piggyback songs so like, for example, my third graders this year did a Guitars and Ukuleles in the Classroom unit. They all got ukuleles provided totally for free, and they got to they sang along as a group until they were comfortable doing that, and then they wrote a song. Like, they were reading a book about Malala, and so they wrote a song piggybacked onto Frere Jacques with words about Malala instead. And then when they did their final project to present about who she was or who she is and the work that she does, they were able to sing along with it, and it was really lovely.
Cool.
And then, because they were comfortable holding those instruments and singing and playing, by the time I got them in music class, we were able to go a lot further because they weren't afraid of the instruments.
Right.
Yes. So it's like, when your classroom teachers don't do arts integration, you're like, they come into your room and it's like a group of people who've only ever eaten with their hands before. Like, they're used to sandwiches, right? Or open up their bag of chips, and they get to your room and they're like, what's a fork? But now my kids know what a fork is. I can bust out the fine china, and we can feast, and they're ready for it. So I think it's a lot of fun.
I like that. Yeah, I know. Without the support of any outside organization, I've attempted that before, but like, it is really hard to make things work as a whole system.
Yeah.
So that's cool, though. That's cool.
It was cool. And there was a panel discussion with Jess Barron, who is the CEO of Guitars in the Classroom. And there was a panel. So there were a couple of classroom teachers, a kindergarten teacher, a second grade teacher who are GITSY trained. And then there was a person who works with kids who are highly medically fragile at Rady Children's Hospital. And so she was talking about how she brings music to those kiddos who are mostly hospital bound or homebound. And then there was a person working in the juvenile prison system. And she does ukulele classes for those guys. And it was just phenomenal to talk to these incredibly passionate people about how they accommodate all those different needs, how they run their classroom, keep attention. I learned some really good attention getters from them. Yeah, it was really inspiring and lovely to hear from them. And then the other session that I really enjoyed, and I've already used quite a bit from it, was by Music Will. So musicwill.org. And it's totally free for educators. You sign up, and it's modern band focused. So rock band, pop, rap, that kind of stuff. And it's about how to get your students playing guitar, bass, and drums. And I had never played a drum set before. So I volunteered to play the drum set. And it was really fun.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And they have this whole system where you go from body percussion to this is how, so you teach this on body percussion and then you put it on the instrument. They had the guitars in standard tune, and they had us within 5 minutes, and it's a room full of music educators, but they had us within 5 minutes playing along to like a funky jam, because it's kind of like an open A minor ish, there's a lot of debates about what,
it's mobile.
about what
let's be real here,
what an open guitar actually is. But we worked on strumming and on muting, and it was fun.
I feel like Jesse would really like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jesse should have come for sure.
Should we call Jesse?
I thought it was, what I really liked about NAMM was we're used to going to AOSA or to our MEAs and being with people who do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's always refreshing to be with them. But it was nice to talk to music educators who aren't in our little bubble.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like my world got expanded. Bigger. Yeah.
And also, the element that this is initially a trade show and this is now recently going into an educational route or not route, but like fusing the educational elements to it. It's like very fascinating.
Well, I think it should be.
It should, for sure. And there should be a strong relationship that kind of breaks the walls, because I feel like a lot of I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm very ignorant about this, but I feel like how teachers garner their supplies are either you have a supplier that you always go to, or you ask your principal to just buy something from you. It's like, but this opens the doors up to there's more out there kind of thing.
I wouldn't have known about the recorder MIDI control unless I saw that demonstrated.
Very much so. I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe this is kind of still in the VAPA festival mentality, but there's this thing that used to exist. It's called E3. It was for gaming. And it used to just be a trade show. It used to just be for the bigwigs. And then it became more open to the regular populace being curious of what's happening in that's what's going to be released for the next year for games. And I don't know if this is applicable, but how do we, something that's always been on my mind is how do we make music education more visible to the regular person? Maybe this is not the answer, but this is also like, how do we make this more visible? Like, there are some cool stuff happening.
Totally. And I was looking at NAMM. I'm like, why aren't there any students performing here? And, there were professional musicians all over. There were 3 stages, and from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. it was a constant rotation of bands.
Like, I think our admin would love to see
oh my gosh,
stuff
if our kids could go to
if our kids could go there for
they would
sure.
Love it.
But also to see there's some cool music. Backpedaling.
Slow down.
Biggest problem with John Seligman. Really, like, I still hold this notion that a lot of people think music education is just recorder, or at the elementary level is.
Got it.
It's just this, and it's just band, orchestra, choir. But no, it's bigger.
So much bigger.
And so, how do we make this more visible to the general populace, or to our admin, or to
Guitars in the Classroom had a student group perform in their session. I think they're nudging their toe in the door.
Well, that's cool.
It was cool.
That's cool, but that still is only shown to our
educator people.
It's still preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
How do we expand outwards? How does this become bigger?
We bring our own stage and we set up.
Or maybe there's an outdoor show that's connected to it, and I don't know.
What would happen if we just did that though? Like walked in with gear.
We would have to still get permits to,
No.
Okay.
Do you know who I am?
I know who you are. You know who I am? I'm a 6, okay? I'm concerned about all the little things. So, but we got the Enneagram, by the way, check mark in there. You can cross that on your bingo card
on your
list.
bingo card. Yeah.
So, okay. I know this is going into a big episode, but you know what? So be it. Question for you.
Okay.
What's something, like, I've shared what I would love to implement. I wasn't even there, but what's something that you would like to implement into NAMM yourself?
A session that I would like to see. A
session you'd like to see, or what would you like to change or add on to, or etc. It's an open-ended question for you.
Sure. I would like to see more. Okay, so it was a lot of administrators who were, or the heads of nonprofits who were talking about big picture stuff, data, and we're boots on the ground.
Yep.
And there was not as much stuff for boots on the ground, which is why I'm not talking about very many of the sessions, because I think they had value, but I'm not going to immediately be able to use it in my life. So I'd like to see more like, how do you communicate these things to parents? Some tools for that, like how do you advocate for music as a teacher to your community. I'd like to see some opportunities to get visible to the people who are at NAMM. Like, let's get our kids in front of these people and get some support. I would like to see some sessions about, so I was thinking it would be nice to talk about some of the issues that we constantly come up in our classroom with, like, we were talking about a few. Well, not unlike what we were talking about with insecurity, and how that holds us back.
Sure.
So maybe growing in emotional intelligence as a teacher and helping to advocate for yourself in that regard.
Okay. So a lot of the workshops that you already resonate with, that you've been to at other places, but bring it to something like NAMM.
But through a different lens.
Exactly, because it's in a different venue, then it should be adapted.
You can do it a little differently, whereas you're kind of in a different box when you're at an MEA or an ORF conference or a Kodai conference. You know, you can kind of burst it open a little bit, I guess.
Burst in a new way.
Yeah, in a new way, like explore a new facet of it. So I would like to see more of that. Also, I would like to see just what some of the innovations people are doing now that we have learned how to use the digital sphere in our professional lives. I'd like to learn more about how we can network with each other.
I like that. I want to add on even more. So not just that we learned more, but also we learned the value, because there are people like Jesse who have done some amazing things that I think people have overlooked because that's just too much, or it's not needed. Now that we were forced to actually sit down and have our students learn, Google, what was the DAW?
Chrome Music
Lab. Yeah, it's like, which is a very simplistic version of the things that Jesse does, but they understand the value because they were able to actually experience it. So now that we've not just learned, but we now value it even more.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can burst the doors,
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I don't.
Well, I mean, this feels like a nice place to tie a nice little bow on it.
Sure,
so it feels like overall we've learned a lot of lessons this last week.
And also, if NAMM would like to write us a check for all the ideas we've given them,
we'll take it.
You can sign to Chaotic Harmony Classroom.
We'll be back with Spiccato after the break.
Yeah.
I want to take a quick break and thank my husband, Bryan, who's been working behind the scenes producing these episodes every week on all of the platforms and on time. But you need to know that he is first a financial planner for Mission Trails Financial. Mission Trails Financial is a partner that seeks to guide clients in the journey to financial success. They believe that people need a financial advisor that aims to provide strategies for success. Mission Trails Financial helps people navigate investments, tax planning, and insurance. Imagine working with an advisor who isn't tied to specific brands. Mission Trails Financial has a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of their clients by providing independent, objective advice. Their mission is to help clients accomplish their financial goals. As Joe Vitale once said, a goal should scare you a little and excite you a lot. Do yourself a favor and set up a time to chat with Mission Trails Financial. Visit www.missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 to schedule a call. You'll be glad you did. We believe that leaning on professionals is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more information.
And we're back.
Yeah. But before we get to Spiccato,
Hold up.
Hard left turn. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and watching all these years, or just today. But what helps this community grow is by hitting that like and subscribe. I know it's kind of Akko Taco, but really it does. Like, we've met some really cool people just because of the visibility.
Don't make it weird, John.
I've made it weird. Do you want me to? We can hit the rewind button.
No.
And that little sound post.
It's too late. The damage is done.
Damage is done. Yeah. So make sure you also leave a review. That helps us make sure this podcast is seen by more people. I haven't checked if there's any new reviews. Is there any reviews?
Haven't seen any lately.
I also have recently transitioned to a different app, but don't tell Apple that because...
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness. I'm scrolling all the way down because we haven't... Nope. But it would be great if you did leave us a review. So 5 stars is the only star number available on either Spotify or...
That's right. Are we ready for this? Y'all ready for this? No, we're
not. Also, Patreon.com. Patreon, yes. So we've mentioned a lot of cool things on this podcast already, but we will be uploading more cool stuff.
Sure will. Sure. All right, so
Patreon.com/CHClassroom. I wasn't done yet, my dude.
Hurry up.
I just said Patreon.com/CHClassroom.
Okay. I have some fitness goals. You see me doing my exercises?
Okay.
So I have with me a resistance band. And these come in giant rolls. So you can buy a roll of these and they come in different strengths. Would you like to try? Have you played with these before?
Not in a mystical classroom, but
yeah,
yes.
Just in the gym or whatever. Physical therapists use these. Your occupational therapist might have a roll of resistance band material. They're not all that much money. Yep, it's late. They are latex, so make sure that nobody has latex allergies.
Yeah,
if you use
don't find it the wrong way. Also,
ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you use a resistance band?
I mean,
you're making fun noises.
I am making fun noises, and 2 years ago, you used to make fun of me always mentioning this on the podcast, but it's been a while. I'm re-bringing back into the musical classroom the Foley Artist Project. And
okay, gotcha.
Especially with different kinds of microphones, like it's kind of different sounds. It's exploration. I don't know what this would be.
Sounds like a bass drum almost.
A very nice call. Yeah, acquaintance of mine, James Bishop, recently posted an album after hiking the PCT, and every single sound in his album was some sort of sound he recorded on the trail. And so, like, might as well use this. You say this is a bass drum sound? Yeah, why not make it into a bass drum sound? I don't know. So, sound exploration for sure. I would use it. How about you, Crystal Pridmore?
Well, I mean, it is meant for movement, and so there are so many different things you could do with movement. I was thinking about, specifically right now, I'm working on articulation with different instruments. So if it was like strings, right, and we're talking about legato, if you get your hands on either side and you stretch it, there's a lot of resistance there. So going very slowly and getting the students to slow down, it's really hard for them.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
That's surprising. Really?
They always want to go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And so just getting them to feel like, I'm always trying to get them to do activities like, we're going to make a movement, but pretend like instead of you're doing it through air, you're swimming through olive oil or something, like, or chocolate pudding. And how would that change how you moved? And so having something that they could actually hang on to
tactile,
would be,
yeah,
and they could feel that. It'd be good for them.
Reminds me of when Dr. Frico came to us.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and he used nylons. Like stockings, tights,
were
right?
they pantyhoses?
Yeah, these are all words for the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, pantyhose. And he would buy them in bulk.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I remember
I think I still have a bag of them somewhere.
I remember mine was all stolen. My car was broken into, and I had a bag of some reason a bag of pantyhose was stolen.
So random.
Like of all things, like you. I mean, there actually was not anything else in the car. That's why. But like, still, really. Were you that salty? Like, oh, there's nothing in here. I gotta take these. Really? Anywho, but
some rogue ballet dancers.
I mean, somewhere out in the world there's a bag of pantyhose. Bless her heart, Zoe discovered. She was like, "Give me half of hers." So,
that's really funny, John.
But no, I like this, like the exploration of. It's very Laban-like, just like exploration of how we approach articulation and sound through movement. But something I really want to do is I want to learn more dial crows. That was a really fun time with Dr. Frico.
It was a good time. Cool. Well, I think we need another certification. We haven't had enough school, John.
I mean, we are always learning. But if you have an idea, you can always let us know at CH Classroom or email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com.
With a stretchy band.
What would you do?
Oh, I was thinking, what would you do with a stretchy band? Okay, my friends, we do have a round of the week. Round of the week. And here is what it is. This is one of my very favorite choir warm-ups.
Okay.
30 purple birds sitting on a curb, a chirping and a burping and a eating worms.
Pitch fix.
Dirty worms.
Dirty worms.
Eating dirty worms. I'm going to do that again. Here it comes. 30 purple birds sitting on a curb, a chirping and a burping and a eating dirty worms. That's how it goes.
30 purple birds
sitting on a curb, a chirping and a burping and a eating dirty worms. Now, if you want to get 5th grade boys getting that octave jump, just let them sing about burping and they'll do it. They'll also burp.
That's what I think.
I'm just going to warn you now. Like, there will be burping. Just let them do it.
They'll get there. But first.
Let them do it and then shut it down. And then I say you can only do that if you do it in a steady beat.
Do you have students at that age that are able to burp on command?
Yeah, I've had them before.
Okay.
My kids are really talented. So, shall we?
Yes.
30 purple birds sitting on the curb, a chirping and a burping and a eating dirty worms. 30 purple birds
30
sitting
purple
on a curb,
birds
a
sitting on a curb,
and
a chirping and a burping and a eating dirty worms.
Now, it's really fun if you do it in a Boston accent.
Boston.
30 purple boys sitting on a coib, a choipin and a boipin, and a eating doity worms.
I'm curious to get a Bostonian to tell us which accent that is. So I think that Kirsten mentioned that, what, 7?
Uh-huh.
Shall I call Kirsten? We would just call a bunch of our friends right now.
We could. That's this whole episode. We could.
You could.
I want you guys to know that this is all in good fun. All right. Shall we try?
No, I feel dirty.
You feel dirty. Oh my gosh, but the kids love it so
Doity
much.
poiple boys.
Doity poiple boys sitting on a coib.
I kind of want to call
A
Kirsten.
choipin and a boipin and a eating doity worms.
You're on your own this one.
I'm going to alienate an entire population.
You can dox Crystal. This is I don't know.
It's okay. I can take it.
Yeah. So
Yep.
when you do that, you can message us also.
When you do that.
When you do that.
Come on. Everybody loves a good accent.
It is. I'm still trying to navigate that. I made this an episode on myself. It's like, what? Yeah, I'm trying to navigate that. So
I understand.
yeah,
I understand that.
but it does sound fun.
I know that is an area of dispute.
Yeah, in the same sense, like, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So maybe you don't have your choir do it in that weird accent.
In that Bostonian accent.
Okay, I know I said that, but as we agreed, it's not really an anything accent. So
It's
a
true.
silly
It's
accent.
true. Yep. Well, that was
An
dope.
exaggerated
An
accent.
exaggerated accent. I like that. Cool. That was dope. Thank you for this. It was good to reconnect. It's been a hot second.
It has been a hot second.
But if people wanted to reconnect with you,
If you want to find me and you want to tell me how awful I am, you can do it. It's fine. I'll take it. Instagram, Mrs.Pridmore.
awesome. And you can reach me at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman on most of the socials.
And you can find us
at CH Classroom, and also you can email us. CH Classroom works for all the socials, also for our Patreon. I didn't really go into it, but really, y'all, there's some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Jamie just got her shirt, so
It looks
this
fly.
looks great. But yeah, at CH Classroom, and you can also email us chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore and Jonathan Seligman. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at CHClassroom, Instagram at Chaotic Harmony Classroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Bryan Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com.
I just learned that if you're styling, you have to say you're drippy or you're drip.
Drip.
Yeah. The shirts are drip.
Oh man, it's so fascinating. Like students come back to me at school. It's like, have they taught you what this means? Have they taught you? Like, former students and I also
have you been informed?
And then they of course they criticize my emojis. Like, my dude, I'm not gonna make fun of your emojis, but this is my generation. This is your generation, and I accept it as it is. So yeah, you talking about soprano versus baritone, cutting through.
Yeah.
Man, I remember this was a really big topic during the early pandemic when people, because Zoom is quote unquote sexist.
Oh yeah,
like
sure.
Because it makes sense to why
AI is racist.
It has to. Well, I mean. Depends which AI, but yeah. Well, I mean that's a reflection of culture.
Or self-driving cars too.
I'd love to hear more of that. Let me first. So like,
okay.
I've also had thoughts on self-driving cars to begin with. Anywho.
They hit people with darker skin color more than white people. That's why.
And so.
Okay, where do we normally put these things?
On the bracket.
That's what I thought, but it wasn't getting tight enough.
I don't know.
Oh my god. I might have to call Bryan.
Hi, Bryan.
Babe.
Bryan Pridmore, you're live on the podcast.
We're nothing without you.
But yeah, like how like the algorithms have to differentiate what's not speech and what is speech. But they just decided, well, either we're going to focus on female voices or male voices, and lo and behold.
Oh, which one did they pick?
The patriarchy.
Yeah, well, I mean, self-driving cars, right? Which one would they pick? That's why equity in AI is a thing. That's a job title.
That doesn't surprise me.
Or in software developing.
I also am just against self-driving cars. Like at that point, you're just driving. You're just having you're having a detachable train. That's all it is.
Detachable train.
Because all of them are supposed to go at the same speed, and then at their exit points, they branch off. All it is a detachable train. So if we had a train, you wouldn't have to be worried about.
Oh my god, I'm seriously struggling.
This is kind of going into takeouts right now. The outtakes.
Did you listen to that rapper song I sent you?
Which one?
Everybody got choices. Yep. Nope.
That's the problem. We've done all the rounds of the world.
We're running out.
I mean, actually,
it is significantly more difficult to find them.
We should do a call to action. Anyone, hey, y'all. If you want a round featured, let us know, like, of your rounds, like, because TBH, a lot of these are Eurocentric, and that's, it is what it is, but, like, we'd love to expand our knowledge. Let us know.